So yeah, weapon AP quality 24% additional damage. This is a relic weapon. Let's just emphasize that. Relic weapon 80 quality 24% additional damage. Let's say you had legendary weapon, right? At like let's say 100 quality. This just to make it easier, because like I remember that like 100 quality legendary is 15% additional damage, right? So 50% additional, whatever it is, basically, right? So with this logic, right, you know, you have like the base 15, the base like 115% because of this additional damage. Now you have 124 with the weapon, right? So that's basically like a 134 by 115. That's about 7% damage gain. So yeah, this is like basically 7% damage gain. This is not, you know, what was it? 9%. It's 7%. The higher it is, then you get the point right there. Now 80 quality is already really hard to do, and then you only get 7% damage gain. And people told me that like weapon is better to craft first before a multiplicative gear set bonus. Wonder who told me that, but yeah, no clue right there. But yeah, it's notepad time, notepad time. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think like it's those three. I think mainly it's those three. So yeah, there might be like some more, and I might miss it, and I can just explain later if like I missed it. So yeah, magic amp versus crit damage tripod for reflux circ. It's that's too much in depth. People don't even get the basics of it, and they want to talk about like the in-depth one. They have no clue what's going on. But yeah, yeah, we can design this damage increase type right here. So we know like the usual, like, you know, additional additive, right? Additive right here, which is like usually like attack power, and we have like the multiplicative, which is like the outgoing damage. And then there is the extra one that people don't really talk about, is the additional damage, which comes from like let's say like weapon, etc. You know, weapon. All of things basically that gives you additional damage. So these are the three main things, to be honest. Like most of the things that gives you damage falls into this category. Like for example, elemental damage, boss weak to light, that's multiplicative, just like increase your damage by outgoing damage by 10%, something like that basically. So yeah, Frizzle, Nim, take the floor, man. Welcome to. But yeah, the important one is this actually, because people don't talk about this. And this is like part of the weapon, right? That's why there is like Papagas that keeps saying like, you know, get the weapon first, you know, because like weapon is like a biggest damage. What damage? So yeah, I don't know, but we'll get through that later. We'll get through that later. So yeah, first of all, like we can go like with the additive first, right? Which comes from attack power, and the difference to like multiplicative as well, because a lot of people don't understand why it is different, right? So additive is mainly like the attack power one. Get the weapon first. Yeah, no. But yeah, additive is usually the attack power ones. If it says like attack power increase, for example, right, you know, attack power engravings, for example, they're like, let's say like curse doll, right? Curse doll, mass increase, and then like adrenaline. These are like attack power increase right here. So the way it works for attack power increase is it takes the base attack that you have, the base attack that you have. So if you have like, let's say like a base attack power of like, let's say 20,000, then it buffs this. It buffs only the 20,000. So like the math basically, like let's say normally you do 100% damage, right? This is what you do, right? So yeah, you do like 100 damage, let's say. Then after that, let's say you put a curse doll, right? So basically you would like add this damage by like 16% of 100, right? So normally it's like this right here. Normally it's like this. And this is fine, right? This is basically a 16% damage increase. Now, the difference comes like when you do it after it. Let's say like you put like an increased mass after this, right? You know, that means you add 18% times like what's the name? Times like 100, like the usual. So yeah, so basically what is 100 plus 16 plus 18 basically. So yeah, so 100 plus 18 plus 16. So yeah, that's basically what you get, right? 134. This will be different if it's on like multiplicative. So in general, whenever like it's attack power increase, it's like this. You don't want to stack it up because it doesn't multiply each other. It's all only based on like the base like 100. So there is that. It depends. It's different if it's like, let's say multiplicative, right? Multiplicative. Like this is like for example like grudge. This is why Grudge is really, really strong. Grudge, Hitmaster is also multiplicative right there. Those kind of thing right there can give you like it's multiplicative. So it's a bit on a different side, like how the calculation works. Like if you have like 100, right, and then you just times, you know, 1.2, right? This is for Grudge, right? 1.2, because 20%, right? Grudge strong heavy armor. Yeah, let's say like Grudge is like that, 1.2 or something like that. So yeah, and then like after this, like if let's say you have a Hitmaster, then you times 1.16. This thing here multiplies the like this one as well. So yeah, so it's like basically like so this one is like basically like 120, right? 100 times 1.2 times like 1.16. So this would be like 129.2. So the amount of damage difference is different. Like let's say like 16, 18, right? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say Grudge give you 18% but multiplicative, right? Let's say 18% instead of like 16%. So it's similar as this, right? So if you're stacking attack power and this is multiplicative right here, then the difference of damage would be, let's see, okay, and 1.16 right here. So that's what it is right there, 6.88. So yeah, the damage difference is 2.8%, 2.88% if it's multiplicative. Even though it's the same like damage increase on paper, right? It's not. It's not. Actually 2 to 3% higher. 2 to 3% higher. And this adds up for every stacking one. So yeah, that's why like you don't want to stack like too much attack power engravings. If anything, if you can avoid it, you can probably you would probably be better off using this. Because like multiplicative is either break even or better. Because like, you know, you can say that like, oh, I only have like, let's say 1 increased mass, right? That's fine, right? I mean, yeah, it's fine. But like party buff gives you attack power as well. Sometime, not everything. Most of the things are like, you know, damage like multiplier. So most of the things are like multiplicative, but there are some that gives you attack power gain. For example, the new red dust, right? The new red dust gives you 24% attack power. Well, that doesn't really apply to curse though. So that's basically how it is right there. When you have additive and multiplicative, make sure it's multiplicative always applied after additive. Yes, because multiplicative is your outgoing damage, then it's multiplied. That's why like having like 1 is alright, because you can have like 1 curse doll, right? So 100 plus 160%, then you times it by 20% for the grass right there. So either way, it's good. So yeah, is side focus multiplicative? Yes. There isn't the difference bigger if you have support in your party? The more you stack it up, the worse it gets be for like the attack power, because attack power only like multiplies the base attack power that you had, not like the other ones. So yeah, bash gives attack power, yes, something like that. Like your skill itself, Scouter synergy, like this class I here that I have, Scouter, like it gives you 6% attack power to the party. So there is that as well. So yeah. So you just look it up right there, but the difference is like that, you know. So assuming like this is like, you know, 1.18, is that like an 18-1? I guess raid captain, right? Raid captain when like used like in like the max setting, optimal setting is like 18% damage increase multiplicative, right? So yeah, this is like what it would come down to. Even though like raid captain and hitmaster are both 18 and 16, curse doll increase mass, if you stack it up, gives you less damage gain. So yeah, and people can say that like, you know, oh, 3% is not big, right? 3% is like, you know, tap your 20 weapon into 21 then. Well, no, that's even like less. No, maybe 20 to 22 actually. That's 3% damage gain right there. It's not small at all. If you really think that it's small, then I don't know then. So Grudge multiplies curse doll. They do, yeah. They do. So yeah, they do. But yeah, sharp blunt is critical damage. Sharp blunt is a different thing. Oh, speaking of that, right? Additive also includes like what's the name? Additive also includes like critical damage. Should put that as well, I guess. So yeah, so stacking this is also not that good. That's why like Sork doesn't use skin blunt right here. Sork doesn't use skin blunt. We'll put it like under, I guess. Put it under here. So critical damage, right? Is like what's the name? Is additive, right? So it's like keen blunt. Keen blunt gives you like critical damage. So if you let's say like have like, you know, 150% like no, not to 150%. So at base, right, you have 200% critical damage multiplier. You can make it like, let's say, like 250%, let's say, from your tripod or something like that, right? If you add keen blunt on that, on like the engraving, right, as an engraving, then you would just basically add it by 50%. So now you only have 300% like a multiplier. The damage gain that you get from this is actually lower. So yeah, let's say that you crit, right? Let's say that you crit from like the 100 damage, right? So you have like the 100 damage. So crit normally is like double the damage, right? So yeah, so basically 200%, right? If you like, let's say like have like the base 2.5%, or let's say you just have sharp blunt first, right? So it's times 2.5, right? Uh, uh, oh shit! What am I saying? 100 times 2.5. Why did I use a calculator for that? I don't know why, but basically you would do like 250 damage. That's at base, right? So if you had like a keen blunt on top of it, but if like, let's say like you had this as a base, and then after that like you add keen blunt, then you only get an extra for it. It doesn't really like multiply it. So it's less less gain than you think. So yeah. Keen Blunt Argos Lunar is additive addition? Yes, it is additive. For example, Keen Blunt gives you 50% damage gain, Argos Lunar gives you 30%, the 2-piece set, right? Then it just gives you like an extra 80% critical damage increase. So the damage gain that you get is less than you think, because like, you know, it's like it's additive as well for that one. You add the critical damage of it. The math is like a bit like different, but it's hard to explain basically, because like critical is not guaranteed. So it's hard to say that, but in case like people are wondering, Keen Blunt without any critical damage modifier is efficient at like 58% critical chance. So yeah, higher than that, it's kinda better, but be careful of stacking too much critical rate. Same thing right there. Critical rate is another thing. Critical rate is another thing. This is actually, critical rate is very similar to like additional damage. So we'll get to it after that then. So yeah, it's not good to stack too much critical rate at one go as well. Spec bonus damage on stuff like Awakening is additive or multiplicative. They multiply the base number, which means the more the spec is like weapon. I'll explain, but we go through this first right here. Let's say critical rate right now, right? Let's say critical rate. You have like, let's say 20% critical rate, right? Let's say you have 20% critical rate. So by default, average, right, you would do around 120 damage, right? So 100 times 20 20% crit rate. So on average you would get like 120 damage on average, right? Of course RNG doesn't work that way, but you know, we'll just say like after like, you know, millions of testing, you would get around 20% critical rate, right? So when like let's say you raise like 30%, what's the name? Let's say you raise it 30% into 50%, right? So yeah, so now the damage that the damage that you do is a 50% crit rate, which is 150, right? This is not 30% damage gain. In case you're wondering, this is not 30% damage gain. Is it transform damage from spec demonic added multiply with the demonic gems? They're multiplicative, yes. So yeah, is it Kim Blunt bad because you can lose 5% of your damage? Yeah, that's why it's hard to like math it out. But the thing is, like, the math is already done by like people in Korea. 58% is what you're looking for, provided you don't have any critical damage. So yeah, snipe is crit rating is not going damage, yeah, not crit damage, not anymore. But yeah, this is not 30% damage gain, because like your base number right now is 120, right? 150 is your now your damage, right? And then like before you do 120, so the amount of damage that you gain is about like 25%, not 30%. So this is damage that you gain, because your base is 120, because like you had 20% critical rate before. So yeah, just trust it. Outgoing damage is multiplicative, yeah. So yeah. But yeah, 120 to 150 is basically 1.25 damage increase. So about 25% damage increase, not 30%. So it's lower than what you think. Spec scaling is another thing. This is the same as like additional damage here. So a lot of people think like, you know, okay, craft relic weapon first because like damage. What damage right there? So yeah, additional damage is works in a similar ways like this, right? So yeah, let's say you craft the relic weapon, right? Let's say you craft the relic weapon because like someone told you to do it, right? Craft the relic weapon without any clue, right? And they say it gives you more damage, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. You craft the relic weapon, and then like you tap let's say 80 quality, right? 80 quality. I don't know what's 80 quality like damage increase actually. I think it's around like 24% or something like that additional damage. So yeah, 80 quality, let's say it's like 24% like additional damage or something like that. So yeah, damage goes to percent for is multiplicative. Yes, it is. So yeah, weapon 80 quality, 24% additional. This is a relic weapon. Let's just emphasize that. Relic weapon, 80 quality, 24% additional damage. Let's say you had legendary weapon, right? At like, let's say 100 quality. This is just to make it easier, because like I remember that like 100 quality legendary is 15% additional damage, right? So 50% additional, whatever it is, basically, right? So with this logic, right, you know, you have like the base 115% because of this additional damage. Now you have 124 with the weapon, right? So that's basically like 134 by 115. That's about 7% damage gain. So yeah, this is like basically 7% damage gain. This is not, you know, what was it? 9%. It's 7%. The higher it is, then you get the point right there. Now 80 quality is already really hard to do, and then you only get 7% damage gain. And people told me that like weapon is better to craft first before a multiplicative gear set bonus. Wonder who told me that, but yeah, no clue right there. Spec scaling is a different thing as well. Like, you know, the argument was that like, you know, because spec gives you like base damage and everything, right? Spec scaling right here. Let's say you are demonic. Let's say you're demonic, right? Let's like demonic. Let's say you are demonic with like a specialty, right? Let's say like the specialty at like 1500 right now gives you like about like 140% demonic damage, right? So yeah, this one now demonic spec with like 1800, and it gives you like around like 160% demonic damage right here. So at this point, right, the damage that you gain by gaining this 300 spec is not 20%. It's not, because your base is 140%. So the gain that you get right here is more close to like 14% damage gain from less 300 spec. It's not 20%. So there is that as well. So yep, that's basically how it is here. So this is like what you should be aware of. Gem is another thing right here. Gem is another thing. There is a lot of the thing like this that like people don't know. Like you have level 9 gem. God damn it, man. There is a lot of methods of gems right now, right? You have level 9 gems, right? Level 9 gem is 30% damage, right? Level 10 gem is 40% damage. If you change from level 9 gem into level 10 gem, you do not get 10% damage increase. No. What you get is like 140 divided by 130 right here. So what you get is a 7% damage increase. So what you get is actually lower than what you think on this one. That's basically how like additional damage or like this kind of like damage works right here. Tripods work the same when you level it up as well. So it's not gonna, like, you know, the damage increase that you get is not really that big. So yeah, the only thing that actually like, you know, is basically like the biggest damage increase that you get and always consistent is multiplicative 1. So yeah, and people say that grudge is bad, obviously. But yeah, but that 4% from grudge right there is massive when you really think about it, you know. Because this grudge right here, if you use grudge right here, it's 20% out of like every attack power, out of every critical damage, out of like every critical rate, out of like every additional damage, out of like every spec scaling, and also out of every gems that you have. So that 4% is not 4%. So yeah, just in case people are wondering on like how like this the math on these ones actually work right here, it's actually less than you think, except if it's multiplicative. I love playing supports. How do you know what damage similar and not wording is so similar on the tooltips? Basically, when it says like attack power, those are basically like additive. You can basically classify it as like attack power is like additive, while like the what's the name, the other one that says like your damage increase right there are multiplicative. Attack power is generally the additive one. Crystal, mass increase, adrenaline, another one. If you like, let's say like run like a critical damage is also like additive, so there is that as well. Uh, and then like there is also like the diminishing, not diminishing return, I should say. What do I say right here? I don't know what it's called. It's like additional damage basically. It's hard to say. But I'm like, there is this type as well that is different. Because like you had this before, you increase it, but that's not the damage gain that you get. That's like this gem right here, you know. You had level 9 gem before, which is 30%. Now you had level 10 gem, that's 7% damage increase. That's not 10% damage increase. So yeah, so that's why raid captain is also good. Yeah, same thing. Anything that's like multiplier is actually really strong. That's why engravings are like the number one thing that makes you strong. And then people put spirit absorb over there on the engraving that gives you 0 damage. Yeah, in case people don't are wondering, spirit absorb is 0 damage. Gives you speed, gives you move speed, doesn't give you cooldown reduction. So in the span of 30 seconds, you use the exact same skill, just the animation is faster. So if you ever wonder like why am I not doing damage, you run spirit absorb, maybe. But yeah, there is that right there. So yeah, that's just like a hindsight of like what is right there. You can go like more in depth into each and every one of them, but basically this is like the basic math of it, you know. This is the basic math of like how like some of these like, you know, damage increase types work. So yeah, effectiveness is probably the word you're looking for. Maybe yeah. Will, thank you for the prime sub, man. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, thank you. What about attack power reduction as negative effect on jewelry? Attack power reduction is based on this attack power. So it's a attack power thing right here. So basically, like let's say like you lower it by like 100 by 2%, right? Level 1. Then it would go down to like 98. Now, if you use Crystal, it would still increase by 16. Not lower than 16 because your attack power is 98. But if it's multiplicative, then it goes lower because it multiplies your 98 instead of like the 100. So there is that. That's why attack power is really bad. You know, you can take defense reduction, you can take like, you know, speed, but attack power reduction, no. That's a no-no right there. So yeah, crit damage still benefit from damage increase of other engraves or gems, right? They do, yeah, they do. But the critical damage has is by itself is additive. If you have like let's say like the Sork tripod critical damage, you put kin blunt. That kin blunt you will barely feel because it just adds it up. Now it does multiply the base damage still. That's why kin blunt is still good, right? With like the other ones. But if you have like too high of a critical damage, then no, critical damage is no, not good. Probably it's better off using like a hitmaster instead. So yeah, damage decrease heavy armor. Well, heavy armor spirit absorb same thing. That doesn't give you damage right there. So yeah. But I use spirit absorb for raid captain. Yeah, a lot of argument. I use spirit absorb for raid captain. Damage increase, right? Is it? Yeah, it is. But you could have used Crystal hitmaster. 2 engraving slot for 1 damage increase sounds pretty big to me. So yeah, ambush is multiplicative, but then ambush is conditional. You have to like hit the back attack on a back attack skill. So it's not as simple as well. So yeah, what about spirit absorb on death blow as a 5th engraving? Spirit is basically comfy engraving. It makes you comfy because it's faster. But if you don't MVP because you don't do enough damage, then don't complain. That's the cost of it, you know. Because like some other striker can be comfy with like Crystal instead as a 5th engraving. So that's basically what you consider right there. If people are wondering, right, you know, why is Asmon's like, you know, Berserker does like so little damage at 40, 90 plus 20 weapon? Because weapon doesn't give you that much damage gain. In case people are wondering, the weapon doesn't give you that much damage gain. Not as much as you think. It does give it though. But I mean like it won't, like, you know, plus 15 to plus 20 will not make up Spirit Absorb on the engraving. That's why the damage is lower right there. I mean, he knows. He just like didn't change it because he says it's expensive or anything, right? So yeah, that's basically how it works right there. But yeah, anyways. Actually, I should go for Crystal instead of Adrenaline when I got the Hitmaster Kinblunt hit in hit Grudge Kinblunt Hitmaster already. Crystal instead of Adrenaline. Well, that depends. Adrenaline has a different has a different effect with the 15% critical rate. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the critical rate right there. But if you stack Crystal and Adrenaline, yes, the gain is lower. It's not like just a plain 6% gain, you know. That's basically how it works. So yeah. Should go for Curse Doll instead of Adrenaline when I have Grudge Hitmaster and Keen Blunt. Well, that depends on like whether you have high critical rate or not. If you're like, let's say like a gunslinger with like, let's say already 50%, 60% critical rate, yeah, go for Curse Doll. You're probably gonna gain more damage in Curse Doll than Adrenaline. So yeah, that's basically how it works right there. So yep. But yeah, I don't know. This is like the basic math of it, and why like people say like damage gain to craft relic weapon first or stuff like that. Just incites this discussion, man. Seems like people don't get the basic math of like some of the other stuff. But I don't know. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. This is like the math of it right here. I don't know. Someone called me out saying that like I just blindly followed like the Korean math. What do you mean? Like I literally calculated myself right here. I don't know. I'm like whoever that was right there. But yeah, anyways. I don't know. This is the basic things of it. If you have like further questions, you can just ask around right there. But yeah, this is basically how it goes right there. How is Korean math different from traditional math? No clue, dude. Yes, I don't know. It's the same shit to me, man. But yeah, anyways, let's go back then. Let's go back.